Okay. So those people have already listened to the case, so they may be knowing that this case is of a 5.5-year-old child. What is the main complaint? How many of you have already listened to this case since I had read it, I think maybe around a week back. I could see that this case was discussed in some of the groups, but I could not get really a chance to see to what extent the discussion went on in each and every group. But I hope everybody must be remembering the case that we are going to discuss today, right? What was the main complaint of the patient? Okay, those people who have not listened to it and those who could not understand it. But is there nobody is there who has understood the case? I could see that discussion was happening in some group. Convulsion. Yes. This is a case. This is a case where the child is getting repeated convulsions from the age of 1.5 years. The child was 1.5 years old when he got his first convulsion attack, and now he's 5.5 years old. And they have tried all possible options, and they have went on everything. So it's that in that sense, it is a very challenging case for us. So I'm just trying to play out the audio frame. Those people who don't understand Hindi, we will also translate them as we go along in English, the case. But just let me know if it is audible or not. I'll just play it for a few seconds initially and just confirm me whether it is audible or not. क्या नाम है बच्चे का नाम पहले बताइए। अच्छा, कितनी उम्र है?
अभी उसकी उम्र होगी 5 वर्ष के आसपास।
5 साल। Was it audible, friend?
Yes, sir, it's audible.
Okay. So before we start with the case, now in such cases where the child is an infant or cannot take, where we cannot take out the individuality, we face a lot of problems because the biggest problem is that we have to depend on what the bystanders are telling us. We don't get a chance to get a quality information. We cannot make the patient cannot speak. It's a small child. They cannot speak. So we have to depend on what the bystanders are saying to us. We have to depend on that information. And when we are taking such cases online, there is yet another drawback that we will not be able to observe the patient in real time. So that observation, whatever conclusion we can take off, or we can basically collect from our own observations, that is also not possible. The most what we can do is that we can tell the patient to give us a video call and maybe observe the patient for a minute or so, or maybe we can ask the patient to, we can ask the bystanders to send the video of the patient so that we can observe them through that video. But now here the real task is that how to construct the totality in such cases where we are not in a position to directly speak to the patient. We have to rely on the information that our bystanders give us. So when we know that, okay, we are supposed to take a case of a 5.5-year-old child, we know that the child will not be able to speak, we have to depend on the bystanders' information. So we have to be prepared for it. We should know what are those things which we need from the patient or their bystander in this case. So if we are talking to the parent, father or mother, what are those information which has to be collected? We need to have a clarity on it. What are those information? क्या क्या लेना पड़ेगा हमें? What are the things that we should collect?
mental journals, physical journals.
Mental journals, physical journals, तो हाँ नहीं चाहिए. Definitely we need to know that. But apart from that, milestones is
Any
important.
causative factor?
Peculiar symptoms.
Yeah. Who told causative factor?
Sir, peculiar
Dr. Alka
symptoms.
Patel.
Yes, welcome, ma'am. That is the perfect thing. First of all, the patient has come with a complaint. We have to understand why it started. What is the reason? In all the cases, we may not be able to reach at the causative factor, but our priority, first and foremost priority should be to hunt for the causative factor. What is the importance? What is the importance of collecting the causative factor?
So ailment factor is important.
Very correct. Very correct. Ailment factor is very, very important. In those chronic cases where we know where the ailments have come from, what exactly is the cause, that will become our straightaway rubric or the eliminating symptom itself. Friends, see, in this session, as I told that new members have also joined. So I think the old members doesn't need to remind that we are not going to think about any possible remedies while listening to the ailment factor. We are just collecting the symptom. That is the first thing that you have to keep in mind. When you are sitting out to take a case, let it be a revision for the old members' friends, but please don't mind. We are going to go in a little slow pace because the new members are also a part. They are attending their first case. So when you are sitting out to take a case, the first and foremost thing that you have to keep in mind that case taking is not the time when you think about possible remedies. Case taking is not the time when you think about possible rubric. Case taking is not the time when you are trying to find out some PQRS or keynote note of the patient. Case taking is the time to what? Focus on what?
Focus on only
Collect the
what
symptom.
patient is saying.
Focus on collecting maximum information out of your patient. Later on, you will work it out. Classification, analysis, totality, all those things will come later. But when you are sitting out to take a case, focus only on collecting maximum information from your patient. Now, some people may say that if we are just focusing on the case, collecting the information, and we are not focusing on the remedy, and if you are not prescribing a remedy in the first consultation, the patient may not come back to us later. That is not the case, friends. I will quote from Kent. Never be in a hurry to prescribe for a chronic case until you have understood the whole case. It takes time. It takes time to get the complete picture. Now, the new members may be remembering that I have just shared an audio clip for you all to hunt for a rubric where the patient was undergoing dialysis. In that particular case, it took 3 consultations for me to complete the case taking. So it is totally a wrong perception that we have in mind that we have to prescribe the remedy in the very first consultation. The patient, if you are able to impress your patient, he will come back to you. He knows that it's a chronic case. He knows that overnight result is not possible. But if he is getting convinced with your case taking skill, the impression that it has on the patient, it will ensure that the patient will not leave you for 6 to 8 months. I was once giving a presentation in one of college in Uttar Pradesh, if I'm not wrong, friends. And there I was telling the same thing to the students that when you are taking a case, please focus only on case taking. If you are not in a position to select the right remedy, if you feel that the case is not complete, what should be prescribed? What should be prescribed? If you feel that your case is not complete, probably 1 or 2 consultation may be required for the patient to open up his emotions. What should be prescribed? The second best remedy, SBR,
Placebo.
that is the placebo. So I was taking one seminar in one of the college in Uttar Pradesh. If I'm not wrong, I think it was in Azamgarh College. And there were some other people who had come without intimation to the same college during the time when I had gone to the presentation. They are also into teaching commercial courses. So I was, basically, it was first my turn to give the presentation. So I was telling the students that don't focus on selection of remedy in the when you are taking a case. Focus on collecting maximum information because at the end of the day, your goal is to reach at this minimum. It may take time. It is a laborious task. So don't be in a hurry. And I concluded my session, and then I was sitting in the audience, among the audience, and these people who had come, I'm not naming the, but I still remember who that was and from which school they belong to, but I'm not naming it. This is not the intention. One of the person came to the stage and said that openly, see, I had my session first, and I have told this to the students. And this person, when he was speaking, he said that I will not tell my patients that I don't have a medicines to give you right now. You come next week, I'll have not completed your case. If the patient is not getting relief, he will not come to you. So give patients, give tonic, give mixtures, whatever you give, but patient should get some relief so that he will come back to you. I felt very insulted there, means, but it's not because of the fact that somebody else have told exactly opposite. But it is, I felt very bad because these people, these kind of people who claim that they are into teaching, they are coming and telling something which is exactly opposite of what is given in the literature. Where it is given in the literature that in order to gain the confidence of your patient, you can prescribe multiple remedies, patterns, tonics, or tinctures, whatever you do to impress your patient. Is it given anywhere? How we are guiding the students? So that in itself was a big setback, friends, because this kind of school still exists. A lot of people go in and around them because they give shortcuts and tips. Shortcuts and tips may help you to survive, but shortcuts and tips will never ever lead you to success. होम्योपैथिक प्रैक्टिस इज एन आर्ट, इट इज एन आर्टिस्टिक वर्क. आपको एक हाथी का इमेज बनाना है, 2 मिनट में भी बन सकता है, 2 दिन भी लग सकते हैं, लेकिन जो 2 दिन में बनेगा, उसका क्वालिटी और 2 मिनट में बनने वाला क्वालिटी में फर्क होगा कि नहीं होगा. So it depends on you कि how precisely you are doing your duty, doing your job. When you know that your job is not so easy, अरे जिसको, when somebody is suffering from 5 years, 10 years, 4 years, 8 years, 6 years, how we can cure that in 10 minutes case taking? Not possible. So we should not focus on, impressing the patient by giving some kind of relief to him. We have to focus and convince them that we are trying to cure you. It will take time. So no patient will run away from you. So we have to go to the root level and understand why this patient is having this symptom. In this case, the patient is having convulsion. Why is that at the age of 1.5 years, the patient started developing convulsion? That was the first time it was developed. So let's listen to it first and then we will discuss as we go along.
हाँ.
अच्छा अच्छा, कितनी उम्र है?
अभी उसकी उम्र होगी 5 वर्ष के आसपास.
5 साल.
हाँ.
अच्छा हाँ, तो बताइए.
एक्चुअली यार सर, उससे जब तो 6 मंथ का था, तब उसे अचानक से झटके से आना शुरू हुए. तो उस समय क्या हमने
whatever questions are coming to your mind, don't interrupt the patient to ask your question. Now see, first statement the patient told that when the child was 6 months old, suddenly he started developing convulsions. So now some questions may arise in our mind. Why? क्यों? वहां पे नहीं पूछना है. Don't interrupt. Instruction given in organon. Which aphorism? New joiners, if anybody is there. Otherwise, old members can answer.
88, 88.
84. Don't interrupt the patient as long as they are not finished. They are talking to the point. They are talking to what we need. They are talking, giving quality information. Don't interrupt the patient. Correct? So I may go wrong in maybe in quoting some aphorism number, friend, but the essence is the same. You can cross check it. So it is there in the aphorisms that if I am not wrong, it is 84 that don't interrupt the patient as long as the patient is feeling. Now the patient, the bystander, the father, I am speaking to the father of this patient. He told that at the age of 6 months, he started developing convulsions. Immediately question will come into your mind. Why? What was the reason? Now, why question has come into our mind? Patient may not be knowing why, but we have to think about the possibilities. Why sudden convulsions can come? And we have to frame our questions in such a way that we have to rule in or rule out these possibilities. So, first of all, these possibilities should come into our mind. What are the possibilities because of which a child can suddenly get convulsions? What are the possibilities?
Regular.
Sorry,
Mother related
one by one, please.
pain,
Pain. What else?
High
fever,
grade fever.
High grade fever, very common.
mother related
Mother related issues possible. Injury possible. What else? What else? We don't need to miss out on anything because that may be a
mental
positive factor
trauma,
which the patient may not be aware of.
any mental trauma to the child,
Mental trauma possible.
Vaccination,
Vaccination possible. Head injury possible. What we are missing out? Pregnancy history is must. That we will dig it out later. Any other possible cause we are missing out? Probable cause? Right. Correct. Very correct. Dr. Rahul sir. Sudden fright, fear can be a factor. Sudden fright and fear can be a factor. So these are the possibilities, all the possibilities that should come into our mind, and we have to carefully, tactfully ask those questions to rule in and rule out it. But this is not the time for us to interrupt it. So whatever questions have come into our mind, we have to keep that in mind or else note it somewhere that I have to ask this, but this is not the time to interrupt the patient. Let's listen further.
उसको मतलब दिखाया डॉक्टर को, तो वो यहाँ पर तो क्या इसका इतनी फैसिलिटीज नहीं है, तो हम वो बोले कि भोपाल दिखा दो, तो यहाँ से हम लोग भोपाल दिखाने गए, तो वहाँ पर भी मतलब एक प्लेट वो कुछ नहीं बता पाए, सिर्फ उन्होंने इजी रिपोर्ट करके ये बोली कि इसको कन्वर्जन आ रहा है माइंड में, कन्वर्जन आ रहा है। तो उसके बाद फिर हम लोग को क्या कुछ दिन उन्होंने भर्ती रखा, ट्रीटमेंट किया।
आपकी आवाज कट रही है।
उन्होंने कुछ दिन उन्होंने भर्ती किया, तो उसका ट्रीटमेंट भी किया 2-3 दिन वहाँ पर।
ये जब बच्चा 6 महीने का था उस टाइम की बात कर रहे हो आप?
जी
हाँ ठीक है। हाँ
फिर उनका इलाज कुछ मुझे समझ में नहीं आया, तो मैं वो डिस्चार्ज करा के ले आया था, और उन्होंने जो दवाइयाँ दी थी, ओरली दवाइयाँ जो दी थी वो उन्होंने कंटिन्यू देता रहा। धीरे धीरे करके कुछ दिनों तक फिर उसको समझ में नहीं आया कि क्या करें क्या नहीं करें, कुछ दिन उसका बीच में इलाज भी बंद रहा।
So what here the patient is saying is that at the 6 month, when the child was 6 months old, when he developed this first time convulsions, the area where these people are living, it is a very remote place. No high quality medical services are available because hospitals are not there. So they took him to Bhopal. The child was admitted there for 3-4 days, and he's saying that I could not understand what kind of treatment is going on. So I took discharge from there and brought him back again. Whatever medicines that they had given, it went on for some time, and for some time, the medicines was also stopped. This is what he said till now. Any query, any questions coming into your mind? It is not the time to ask, but कुछ सवाल आ रहे हैं आपके दिमाग में, कुछ पूछना है इसको लेके? Anything as of now which you want to ask? Or shall we go on? Shall we move on further? Okay. No questions for anyone? Why medicine was stopped? Why medicine was stopped?
because there was no relief
So
of
relief नहीं है
the
तो आप
symptoms of
if there is no relief, you will go to somebody else. You will not take it for granted कि चलो convulsions आ रहे आने दो. मतलब आने आ रहे ही नहीं है ये नहीं हमें पता है. We don't know what is the frequency of convulsion. Possibility, there are two possibilities. Yes, one is money issue, probably. Correct. One is money problem can be this. Secondly, probable possibility is there that that convulsion may be just one time. It may not be recurring so frequently that कि चलो छोड़ो यार बार बार तो नहीं आ रहे. It is not coming irregularly. Leave it. ये ठीक हो गया होगा. It was one time. So what we need to understand, what we need to ask is how frequently these convulsions are recurring right now. Then we will get to know why the treatment was stopped. If it is coming so frequently, then what is the purpose of stopping the treatment? Why it is stopped? When your child is suffering, very recurrently suffering, why you stop the treatment? But that can be asked only when if you can understand what is the frequency right now. Once in 6 months, once in 3-4 months, fine, people take it for granted. Understandable. So isn't it important to understand the frequency of attacks right now? Yes or no? We need
Yes,
to
sir.
understand. So that is not the time to ask. Let the patient speak. We'll listen further.
फिर उसको मैं अपने यहाँ मतलब मेरी ससुराल है सागर, तो वहाँ पर नए न्यू गवर्नमेंट हॉस्पिटल खुला हुआ था, तो मेरी मिसेज ने उसको वहाँ दिखाया, तो वो लोग क्या उसकी प्रॉब्लम को समझे.
Again, friends, the money issue seems to be pretty much there with these people because again, government hospital they are referring to. People go mostly this kind of people. Yes, we cannot blame them friends because वो लोग की रोटी कमाई इतनी कम होती है कि वो लोग कहाँ दे इतने सारे expenses. And if you go with this kind of complaints now, friends, it's a real fact. And really, being doctors, we should be ashamed that our fraternity members are doing this. When these kind of children are brought to the big hospitals, they do recommend every possible test. ये मरा करो, ये करो, वो करो, ये करो, वो करो, क्योंकि उनको पैसे लूटने होते हैं. Really? When we were in college, our sir used to tell that lab investigation should be suggested to confirm your diagnosis. But nowadays, what is happening? Lab investigations are done, and on the basis of lab investigations, we are making a diagnosis. There is a huge difference. But in homeopathy, it doesn't matter what the diagnosis is. But still, I think we can understand that financial issues are there in these patients. They are not in a position to avoid for expensive treatment. Friends, see, just imagine, on a lighter note, I'm saying, see, all those people who are supporting this project. This child has started taking medicines, I think, just about 1 week back. So only about 7 or 8 days. First follow-up is there to come. But if we are able to cure this patient, see, we are getting a lot of things to learn from. At the same time, look at the patient from patient's point of view. Without having to go for those expensive charges, they are getting the results as well. And they will go and spread it to 10 people. So even if we are spending, I'm just addressing to the new members, friends. Old members very well know it. They are with me and they are with this feeling. So that is the reason they are still in this project. Even if we are spending a very minute amount every month to be a part of this project, this money is being mostly utilized to give this kind of patients quality treatment. Homeopathy will progress at ground level, the popularity will grow. We will also get a chance to lot of things to learn from. हमें तो सीखने के लिए कहीं भी पैसे देने हैं, तो जहाँ किसी का भला करते हुए हम लोग खर्च कर रहे हैं, but still I feel very disappointed and depressed when I see that not too many people are showing interest to learn. I'm sharing this because this recording is going to be shared in the other offline groups as well. Because friends, we have to realize we have got a moral responsibility to learn so that this kind of people who come with a hope to us, they get benefited. Anyhow, let's move on.
इसको मतलब कंवर्जन आ रहा है, तो उन्होंने वहाँ से ट्रीटमेंट दिया, तो उससे शुरू में तो इफेक्ट रहा, वही वेलपोरिन वगैरह इस टाइप की मतलब शायरअप वगैरह, उनसे शुरू में तो इफेक्ट रहा, लेकिन बाद में फिर वो इफेक्ट धीरे धीरे कम हो गया. फिर मेरे मित्र ने एक और जगह अभी सलाह दी थी होम्योपैथी में. तो क्या है, मेरी माता जी को भी पैरालिसिस है, तो वो होम्योपैथी से उनके पैरालिसिस को बहुत ज़्यादा रिलीफ मिला. और उसके बाद फिर मेरा ध्यान इस ओर गया कि मैं बच्चे को भी होम्योपैथी की दवाई करवाऊँ. तो इंदौर में ही है डॉक्टर जाहिद नूरानी, होम्योपैथी की मतलब है, तो उनके पास अभी 2 साल से उसका इलाज चल रहा है. उनके इलाज से मतलब कोई इफेक्ट नहीं आ रहा. उन्होंने बोला था कि अंग्रेजी दवाइयाँ धीरे धीरे कम हो जाएंगी उसकी.
Friends, we all are doctors, and we should take it as a collective responsibility that when a patient is coming to us, we ensure that they are getting the best relief. And I really see, I could have edited the name of the doctor here. I think he is a member of our platform itself, but I have not edited intentionally because I want to encourage this. I'm not saying that I will be able to cure the patient. Maybe I may fail also, no problem. But if I see that I am not getting results, then keeping in mind the best interest of my patient, it is best advisable that okay, मेरे से नहीं हो रहा है, I am not able to find it out. So probably you can go somewhere else, or I can recommend you somebody who is much better than me. That is an attitude which deserves applause for you. If I'm not, if so many members are there, I'm not able to recollect whether the member is over a platform or not, because this case was referred to me by somebody who is already a member. And I have not edited his name intentionally because he deserves an applause. Because नहीं हो रहा है यार, चलो ईगो तो नहीं आ रहा है ना वहाँ, कि मैं मेरे से नहीं होता, किसी को मैं नहीं शेयर करूंगा. That should not be, that attitude should not be there in us. We will work it together. We have 350, 400 members. If I am not able to get results with the remedy that I have selected, we will together again work it out. And we will decide whether we have gone wrong, कहाँ गलत हुआ, कौन सा medicine next देना चाहिए. We will work it out. It will be complete transparency thing. But at the end of the day, the patient is getting benefited. So definitely, all those, the person who has referred this case to me definitely deserves an applause for the attitude shown to send this case. We are getting so much to learn from, and it is really a challenge for me. I like challenges. Let's see next 3-4 months क्या आउटपुट आता है. ठीक है.
लेकिन वो कम होने की जगह बढ़ ही रही है, उसमें कुछ इफेक्ट नहीं आ रहा. और क्या डोजेज, अंग्रेजी दवाइयों क्या डोजेज बढ़ रहा है, उसके कारण उसको न्यू प्रॉब्लम्स आ रही हैं. जैसे खाना छोड़ देता है वो. अभी फिलहाल में महीने 2 महीने से उसने मतलब.
अच्छा, any questions now, friends? Any questions now coming into your mind?
सर ये सिम्टम बोला है, एपेटाइट डिमिनिश्ड हो गई है. इज इट बिकॉज ऑफ द मेडिसिन का साइड इफेक्ट, और ये सिम्टम पेशेंट का है, और उसको कितना इम्पोर्टेंस देना है?
खाना छोड़ने का और कन्वल्शन का क्या रिलेशन है? कुछ नहीं है. This is a strong possibility that most of us know that when we are in continuous treatment of allopathic strong dose medicines, हमारी appetite गुल हो जाती है. We all know that, right? It's a known thing. आप बुखार में एक एंटीपायरेटिक और एंटीबायोटिक का कोर्स भी करोगे तो योर appetite will be lost for 3-4 days. Why is it not clear? Is it for only one person or for everyone? Hello?
Clear,
It
sir.
is clear,
sir. Yes, sir,
Clear,
audible.
बीच में ब्रेक हो रहा है.
अच्छा ठीक है. There is some net connectivity here, so no problem, no problem. The climate is not that good here. So अब खाना छोड़ देता है. अब what are the things to ask? From when he has stopped eating the food, what medicines are going on presently, and to rule out whether it is an effect of medicine or not, what question can be asked?
Before medicine, the appetite.
We have to compare when he has stopped eating, yeah, showing that lack of interest to eat, and since how long the medicine is going on. अब मेडिसिन पिछले 3 साल से चल रहा है और 6 महीने से खाना छोड़ दिया है. सॉरी, let me speak in English, then there are some friends who don't understand Hindi. So if the patient is on medication for 3 years and the patient has lost appetite for 3 months, 6 months, it cannot be the reason, right? So that will help you to judge the value of that symptom. If it is not related to the medicine side effect, still the patient doesn't want to eat, appetite is diminished, how many rubrics we have been. This is not the time to think about any rubric, but the possibility should come into your mind. Repertoire should come into your mind. Questions should be framed to shortlist the possible rubric. Appetite diminished, then few mouthfuls enough, fills up the stomach. Then appetite is there but doesn't want to eat. That rubric is also there in the repertoire. Do you know that? Do we know that? When we are taking a case, this rubric should roam in our mind so that we can frame questions to shortlist or confirm any of those rubrics. Getting my point? खाना छोड़ देता है, refuse to eat. That rubric is also there. Eat, refuse to, I think, if I'm not wrong. There, it is there. Eat, refuse to, खाना नहीं खाना. मना कर रहा है या कम खा रहा है, पूछना पड़ता है. We have to ask, is he denying to eat or is he eating less? Appetite want of also is a possibility. That has to be asked, right? Is he denying to eat or is he eating less? That question has to come, right? So this is how you frame your questions in your mind, friend. Let's move on.
कोई रोटी वगैरह, जैसे अपन रोटी वगैरह खिलाते हैं तो उसको वो खाता नहीं, दलिया वलिया जो सब बिस्किट बिस्किट इन्हीं चीजों पे आधार बना कर रखा हुआ। तो अभी क्या परेशानी में मैं उनके पास गया था तो उन्होंने आपको फिर दिया परिचय, मुंबई में है कोई सर। मैं सर से मैं बात करके देख लेता हूँ, यदि वो मैनेज कर लें, देख लें।
ठीक है, तो अभी देखिए कैसा है ना सर, पूरा डिटेल मुझे आपसे पूछना पड़ेगा, कम से कम आधा घंटा लगेगा। अभी टाइम है आपके पास?
आप यहाँ वीडियो कॉल कर ले, मैं वीडियो कॉल पे दिखा सकता हूँ आपको।
नहीं, अभी वीडियो कॉल की जरूरत नहीं, आपसे मैं पहले डिटेल्स पूछ लेता हूँ, उसके बाद वीडियो कॉल के बाद में देखेंगे। तो सबसे पहले आप मुझे बताइए कि 6 महीने पहले आपके बच्चे को कन्वल्जन्स पहली बार आया था, है ना? नहीं, मतलब जब वो 6 महीने का था तो पहली बार उसको कन्वल्जन्स आए थे, है ना?
जी।
तो उसके पीछे की वजह क्या थी? कोई आइडिया है आपको क्यों उस टाइम पे पहली बार उसको आया? कोई अंदाजा है आपको? So this is the first thing we have to ask to the patient in chronic cases, friend. If they have come for themselves or if they have come to show their close ones, are you aware of what exactly could be the reason? Because if they are aware, it will make our task easy. Many times they are not aware. उनको नहीं पता कि mental disturbance also can get into this kind of problem. So they may not know. But if this is one sure shot question that has to come into your case, thinking ki, friends, I am getting a message that my internet connection is unstable. Am I audible or is it breaking?
It is break.
It is breaking. Climate is not that good, friends. So that is the reason the network issue is there.
No, sir. No, sir. It is not breaking from my side.
Okay, so which network you are using, ma'am? We will create an
सर
ad for
मुझे तो
it.
आपकी आवाज बिल्कुल ठीक आ रही है।
कौन सा नेटवर्क यूज करते हैं मैम? उनका ऐड का कंपनी का ऐड बनाएंगे हम। चलिए, तो all other people are using other networks, and I think one person it is clear. So it means that it is not much mistake from my end. Anyhow, so what I'm saying is that this is the first and foremost thing that you have to ask the patient कि आपको पता है ये क्यों हुआ है? Do you know why this started? Do you know why this started? Sometimes the patient may end up telling some reasons which is not actually valid. तो हम लोग छोड़ देते हैं उसको। See, I'll give you a homework. Just come back to me tomorrow. In which aphorism it is mentioned that you have to collect information from wherever sources, whatever sources you are getting it. But then once you have collected, you have to use your own intellect to decide what has to be considered and what has to be discarded. In which aphorism this is mentioned, or we recommend the college syllabus books only. So in the book of Dr. Shashikant Tiwari, Essentials of Reporterization, under the explanation of which aphorism this is mentioned, that you have to come back to me tomorrow. See, we have to listen from everyone, but we have to at the end of the day we have to use our own intelligence to decide what has to be considered, what not has to be considered. Vaccination का भी आया नहीं है, आएगा मैम अभी. Just I think we have 2 minutes left, so we'll move on with the.
सर ऐसा तो कोई अंदाजा नहीं लग पाया हम लोगों को, क्या है हम लोग छोटे शहर से हैं और
एग्जैक्टली हुआ क्या था उस टाइम पे? कौन बच्चे के पास था और क्या किया उस टाइम पे? So when the patient tells you that they don't have any idea why it started, how it started, for what is the reason, then the next thing to ask is, when this first time it happened, who was there along with the patient? They may have observed something, isn't it? Quite logical. First time attack came at the age of 6 months. So who was handling the patient? Who was handling that child at that moment? Who was there with that child? Not clear, brain? Voice is not clear? Anyhow, we have just 1 minute left, so we will wind it up today. We will continue this discussion tomorrow. But I want your feedback, friends, those who are in Telegram groups and those who are in WhatsApp groups, those who are new members. Please share your feedback, because these feedbacks are something that gives a positivity to me as well. I'm planning to go back to that stage where we used to enjoy case discussions. We took a wrong decision to start the Prabhat project very early when the members were not ready for it. That backfired on me, because of which I have to face a lot of critics and allegations, and I'm still facing those things. But again, that was not done something intentionally. But again, we are trying to go back to that stage where we are trying to enjoy the discussions and learning process. So your feedback gives a lot of positive to me to overcome the negativities that I'm facing from elsewhere. So please don't forget to share your feedback. We'll continue this case tomorrow at the same time. Okay. So thank you, friends, and I'll wait for your feedback in Telegram group, WhatsApp group, or wherever it is. Thank you, friends.